I thought in this video too, I'd go through what I call the big box competitors that I have. These are the law firms that have 4 or 5 or more locations, and you and I, we can't turn the TV or the radio on without listening to not one but probably 5 of their commercials. I call them the gluttons, Sally Glutton. Let's stop and think about what kind of a law service you're going to get if you use one of those law firms. Let's say that I had somebody here in my office today to sell me TV advertising. Well, I'm going to learn very quickly that that costs thousands of dollars. How am I going to pay for it? Let's say I hired you as my office manager and you're sitting here with me. How are we going to pay for that advertising? Well, the only hard and fast information that I know is these recent congressional hearings on health care. We know that 40% of what you and I pay for every prescription we buy, 40% of the cost of that prescription has nothing to do with the prescription, it's advertising. Well, the pharmaceutical companies, they can buy advertising a lot cheaper per minute than any one of these glutton law firms. So we know that whatever that number is, the glutton TV law firm is going to have a big number as a part of your attorney fee to pay for that TV ad. And let's say you're still my office manager and we're figuring out and we say, okay, well, what are we going to say in the ad? Well, the TV salesperson, for us, they'll say, well, all you want to do is give them information to bring them in. Don't try to educate them. Don't give them any information that's useful. Just bring them in. They're no good to you unless and until you ring up your cash register. So don't worry about what you say to them. Also, after you get them hooked as a client, you get some money down, you need to recognize that that's not the end of what you can charge them. So charge them for phone calls. That's $50 a whack. Charge them for copy expense, e-fax, emails, anything and everything you can think of to charge them, charge them. And you can pay for the commercials fine. These are everybody that walks into your law office is a potential victim for you. You need to recognize that. Well, that's the way those law firms have to operate. Now, they'll flip up during the ad, we stop garnishments and foreclosures. Well, if you don't know that by now as a consumer, then you've got some real issues. Of course, bankruptcy stops garnishments and foreclosures, but what other useful information are you getting? Absolutely none. The way they run their office, they can't deal with you calling in there for information. I mean, stop and think about it. Sally Glutton, she's making cameo appearances at least 5 locations, and she's not going to be bothered with your actual bankruptcy file. She's going to introduce you real quick to some secretary that maybe they've given them a box of business cards that says they're paralegals. I've already told you or explained to you in this series that the term paralegal doesn't mean anything. So they're going to farm you off to somebody in that office to put up with your phone calls. But they're going to give you a disincentive for you to be bothering them. They've already rung up your sale, so they don't want you calling in there or getting any information. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to charge you $50 a phone call. Even if it's a 2-minute phone call, it's $50. And they're going to charge you for anything and everything having to do with your bankruptcy. Copy expense, fax expense, email expense. God knows what else they've come up with since last time I've looked. But if you go to a 341 meeting and call my office, and I can tell you when meetings are scheduled. You don't have to wait to hire me to go to one. But if you talk to their clients that are there at the 341 meeting, they'll tell you how shocked they were as to what those additional expenses were, and that they never knew when they started out that it would be that much more. But, you know, again, they've got to pay for those TV commercials. Now, when those firms, these glutton firms, when they go to the 341 meetings, they schedule a bunch of cases at one time, and they'll have one person from that firm appear. Well, when they come in with a big bunch of files, they literally put them in garbage boxes. They're big plastic garbage boxes, and they'll have 3 or 4 of those garbage boxes on a two-wheeler, and they'll wheel those into the 341 meetings. Well, you know when you see the garbage box that none of those clients are going to get much individual treatment. They're just like cattle that are being herded in and out. They've already rung them up, and they just want to get rid of them at the 341 meeting. So there's no personal service whatsoever. The person that represents you at the 341 meeting, they're probably not going to be the person that you ever dealt with as you went through the process with the TV advertising law firm. But before I finish up on this, let's cover advertising or TV advertising, how it works, how it has to work. Let's take credit card ads. You remember all the good-looking girls on TV, and they'd show really beautiful beaches and the power of your credit card? Did they ever mention to you that if you were late on a credit card payment that they were going to hit you with default interest rates and penalty interest rates? Did they ever tell you that your contract with them wouldn't have anything to do with Missouri law, but that you were agreeing to be bound by Delaware or South Dakota law? Did they ever tell you that they're going to call you and call you and call you over the phone at home and at work when you're late on the credit card? Did they tell you that the Missouri court system is overwhelmed with credit card lawsuits? No, of course not. TV advertising is inherently misleading. Well, these TV law firms, they're the same way. These are not lawyers as far as I'm concerned. These are merchants. These are merchants that have law licenses. You know, you take the banking community today, and Congress gave them all that bailout money, and the theory was that they were going to then lend you money. Well, nobody can go to a bank today and borrow any money. It's because the bankers aren't there anymore. The finance people have taken over all the banks. You know, you can't call a mortgage company or a bank anymore and work out a restructure. Hell, they're going to transfer you to call to some underpaid poor person in India for you to talk to. You're not going to get any relief. Well, it's the same thing with these law firms that are advertising on TV. They're selling something much, much different than what you think you're buying. And they're just trying to give you a sucker punch. So I hope you don't deal with them, whether you do or don't hire me. You know, every time you buy something, whether it's attorney services or whatever, you are voting. That's your vote as a consumer. And I hope that you vote with your dollars that you don't appreciate being treated that way, that you're not some dummy, that you're just not some cow in the herd, and that you expect your attorney to actually represent you. That's what you're paying for. You pay for attorney services, and then you deal with a bunch of secretaries. That's what you're going to get here. And then you're going to pay a lot more for it. They charge a lot more than the other law firms when you add up all the additional expenses that they charge you for. So I hope that you think about these issues in making your decision. Watch the next video and compare it to what I offer you. Thank you.